Hi guys, this is something that I've been thinking about and meaning to do for a little while. And this is going to be a slightly different video today. Basically what I've done is I've pulled up 8 random chess games from 8 of the best ever players. And I just thought it would be interesting to look at the pattern on the board after the first few moves have been made. Because I think something that I've noticed when I've been playing, lower ranked players is we quite often see things like the same minor pieces move twice, or funny random pawn moves are made. And I just thought it would be fun just to take 8 completely random games and to see what kind of patterns or shapes the world's best players do, so that we can get that in our minds and think about doing the same kind of thing when we play. Okay, so the first game that's up here is Bobby Fischer against Boris Spassky from sometime in 1992 apparently, and we'll just flick through the first moves. E4, E5, okay, 2 knights, and the Ruy Lopez. There's a wing edge pawn move there to kick the bishop, which is standard in that thing. So this is 4 moves now on each side. We have, on Fischer's side, 2 minor pieces out in the board. 1 pawn has been moved. Okay. On Spassky's side, 2 minor pieces out in the board, and he has 2 pawn moves because Fischer had to use 1 move to retreat his bishop to a4. Okay. So absolutely classic Ruy Lopez opening. The next game is one Garry Kasparov playing Simon Bartels. Okay, let's do the same. This is a d4 opening. Knight comes out, bishop. Okay, and the 4th move there. Okay, so what have we got here? We have 2 minor pieces from each side, 2 pawns. Okay. Now, if you remember, always try and think, you only have to move 2 pawns in order to get all your minor pieces out into the board. The knights can obviously jump straight out into the action. Bishops there has to be a pawn move off the bishop's own colour in order for the bishop to get off the back rank. Okay, so if it's the light square bishop, then here for white, it's either the G pawn or the E pawn has to move in order for that bishop to be able to deploy and get into the board. Very, very straightforward. So, just reminding ourselves again, 2 minor pieces are out, 2 pawns. Let's look at this is Magnus Carlsen. Okay, it's an E4, C5, the Sicilian defense, knight, pawn, bishop, knight, another pawn, and there's a capture there. Okay, so you can see 2 pawns have been moved. Next one is a Capablanca game. D4, D5, knight to F3, knight to F6. There's a pawn move, and look, the bishop move again, right? And then a bishop. So you can see the same kind of thing. We're seeing usually no more than 2 pawn moves in the first 4 moves, right? Because the other 2 moves are nearly always minor pieces coming into the game. This is very, very simplistic stuff, but I think it's important for us to, just remind ourselves about how, the best chess games start, how the best players start their games. This one is Paul Morphy from 1864, we think, against some called Dominguez. Okay, E4, E5, knight, knight, bishop, knight. Okay, that's the first 3 moves, and then there's a pawn, then there's a pawn capture. Okay, so what we want to be doing is thinking about, in your first 4 moves, getting those pieces, 2 minor pieces out, and really moving no more than 2 pawns. Okay, so the next one is Nakamura against Anishgiri. E4, Sicilian, C5, knight, pawn, bishop, knight. Okay, bishop retreats, another knight comes out. Okay, so just keep thinking, snapshot of this. Next one, Anand. E4, E5, knight, knight. This is the Italian game, so the bishops come out to C4. If it came out to B5, that's the Ruy Lopez or the Spanish game. Okay, that's move 3. Move 3 by black. Bishop comes out. Castles. Okay, so 4 moves in, 1 pawn move for white, 2 minor pieces and castles. Okay, that's pretty rapid. And the last one, Mikhail Tal against Akopian, and E4, Sicilian again. Knight to F3, knight to C6, bishop comes out attacking the knight, there's a pawn move, and castles, and a minor piece. Okay, so very, very simple stuff. So let's just flick through now the positions after 4 moves have been made. Okay, this is the Fischer-Spassky game, 2 minor pieces for each side out in the board. This is the Kasparov game, 2 minor pieces and 2 pawns out in the board. Magnus Carlsen's game, 2 minor pieces, 1 pawn there, but there's been a pawn capture, okay, and black has only 1 minor piece out in the board. No one has moved their queen out, notice, at this point in time, okay. This is Capablanca, 2 minor pieces, 2 pawns on both sides. Okay, the Paul Morphy game. Is this after 4 moves? Yeah. So that's move 1, move 2, move 3, move 4, and there's been a pawn capture. But again, both sides, 2 minor pieces out in the board. The Nakamura game. 2 minor pieces on each side, and only the 1 pawn has been moved by Nakamura, who's playing white, because he has retreated his bishop from b5 to a4. Anand's game, 1 pawn on each side. Anand has actually released 3 minor pieces. Sorry, it's Mameddyarov. So black has got 3 minor pieces out into the board, right? So we're not seeing lots of pawn moves. We're not seeing the queen coming out. We are seeing the minor pieces coming out, and they're starting to compete and occupy the center of the board, starting to control squares. And the last one is Tal. There you go. 1 pawn in white's case, because he's also castled. Again, 2 minor pieces out. So, you know, if nothing else to take away from this, be thinking about in your first few moves, in your first 4 moves, you should have 2 minor pieces out in the board. So if you think, okay, what do you want to achieve? Can I do that while deploying, while developing 1 of my minor pieces out into the game? Okay, you don't want to be moving the same piece more than once. You don't want to be moving your queen out too early. All simple stuff, but this is just a fun kind of exercise that you can do. Just go on to chess.com or whatever, look up some games from good players, and just look at the first few moves, see what they do. All right, that's all for today.